Well, the overall market is up strongly again today. More evidence that we have the entire market is now looking past the inflation issue, looking past the interest issue. As I've been saying for a couple of weeks, I believe that this has definitely been confirmed now, and we are now on the second leg of the bull. That means some of the money is going to start coming off the sidelines. The massive 5.2 trillion that's tied up in money market funds and elsewhere in cash and cash equivalents, that is going to start coming into the market. Yes, there will be ups and downs. It's not going to be a straight line, but the market is in the second leg of the bull as far as I'm concerned. Notice how yesterday, on the other hand, Microsoft went ballistic based on their news, while the other Mag 7 stocks were super quiet. Of course, Tesla, again, facing earnings, was also up against that trend. They broke out, but the NASDAQ was super strong, but the FOMO crept back in. This morning, the Mag 7 stocks are still subdued. It's all about this reset that's coming up on, I guess, after the market on Friday. So that should all settle out this weekend, although the S&P might have to also reset. So who knows what's going to happen if the S&P also has to reset. Now, that's a much broader index, so it will have somewhat less effect and probably won't be as noticeable. All right, so Google and Amazon and Apple couldn't break out yesterday, and Apple is still down today, even though Google and Amazon are up a tad. I will do a quick response to earnings. This is Randy Kirk, by the way. Hit like and subscribe and all that stuff. I'm going to do a quick response to earnings about 1:45 Pacific time. But the amazing analysis will be coming later when Larry Goldberg is on. We'll kick it around, see what stood out to the two of us in terms of the earnings and the earnings call. Tomorrow, I'll continue that analysis with Brian Wang if things go as planned. And by the way, I listen to Rob Maurer. He's my go-to guy after earnings. That's where I'll be from 1 o'clock until, or whenever the actual earnings come out, 1 o'clock until 1:30 or so Pacific time, listening to Rob as he gives me help in understanding what happened on the day. So anyway, hit notify if you want to make sure that you hear Larry Goldberg and I talk about it this afternoon. If you want to make sure that you hear what Brian had to say tomorrow, etc. And then, of course, Patreon. Thank you, everybody, for joining up. We're trying to get to 100. So looking forward to seeing some more of you join up as we go for 100. So Tesla opened strong this morning, and then it kind of fell off a little bit. That's what I would expect all day today. I do think we will move towards the 300. Yes, there are people taking profits because, that's 300 number is going to be kind of a difficult number to get across. So people are taking profits as it goes up. But I think overall, it could still hit 300 a day, maybe even go through, could settle a little lower than 300, but we'll be in this ballpark all day. No sell-off today, at least that's my expectation. As usual, I do expect that there could easily be a sell-off tomorrow, depending on the news. But even if the news is really good, even if there's a lot of confidence, even if there's a lot of good, things like giving us the exact date of the Cybertruck handoff, even if all that happens, there could still be a sell-off tomorrow. We have had a very long run up. So selling on the news, the typical sell-off for Tesla on the day after, all that is possible. However, unless there's something really horrible, the next 3 weeks, we will start moving up towards 350. I think you can pretty well count on that. Again, there could always be some big news item internationally or some big financial item that would throw that off. Yes, no, I don't have a crystal ball. Somebody asked the other day, could you loan me your crystal ball? I don't have a crystal ball. Data, knowledge, reading, making sure that you just keep always reading and keeping the information in front of you that you need to know, and then experience. Doing it a lot. I've been doing it for longer than many of you have been alive. But as you all know, the hot bat, I said it yesterday, the hot bat sometimes gets really cold. So don't count on me. Do your own homework. I could completely blow it. And who knows, Tesla might go back to 265 next week. We just don't know. Okay. I also want to say the quiet thing out loud again. Yesterday, I had a great conversation with Jeff Lutz, and he was in total agreement with me. Your favorite pundit, including me, cannot know what the cost of goods sold was. We can't know. We do not have the information. We can get a pretty good idea of what the selling price of the cars was. We can get a pretty good idea. We know the numbers. So the top line, we can get the top line pretty well. Nobody, not Troy, not Steven, nobody knows what the cost of goods sold was. If you own the company, you don't know what the cost of goods sold was until the accounting department gets done with it. You can't know. We don't know what they were paying for raw materials. We don't know what they were paying for batteries. We don't know what they're paying for components. We don't know how much they might have reduced labor. We don't know what kind of other changes and things they might have done in the factory to get costs down. We don't know what kind of surprises there might have been. I think I told you the other day about a surprise I had years ago where my scrap was way higher than I was expecting, like 5% higher. And it just threw off all my numbers for the month or the quarter. So even if your favorite guru, even if I miss on the margins and therefore the profits, because they're totally tied, if we miss on the margins of the profits, it has nothing to do with our ability to analyze. It has everything to do with not knowing. And so you can't know. All you can do is guess. Please understand that, not just about me, about all the other guys that you respect. You cannot know. All right. Industrial production declined 0.5% in June for a second consecutive month, but an advanced 0.7% in the annual rate for the second quarter as a whole. Manufacturing output moved down 0.3% in June, but rose 1.5% in the second quarter. In June, the indexes for mining and utilities fell. All right. All of this is to tell you what we've got is kind of a soft market, slightly moving up. All of the evidence is Goldman came out this morning and reduced their chances for a recession from 25% chance of recession to 20% chance of recession. We're not going to have a recession. I've been saying that for, 9 months? I think since I started the channel, I've been saying no recession, no recession. We have this rolling recession. Yes, we've had that. There's not going to be a recession. So that's very good news, and that is why we're going to have the second leg to this bull. One of the great pieces of information here is capacity utilization was down, but it's still at 78.9%. We're really close to that magic 80%. I think we'll see that capacity utilization moving past 80% in the months ahead. Business inventories rose by 0.2%. Again, indication that is not good news for manufacturing. Manufacturing needs that inventory to start shrinking, but it was in line with the economists' expectations, so I wouldn't get too excited about it. Let's talk about housing. Housing starts and permits both miss. Is the Fed listening? Is anybody from the Fed? If you know somebody at the Fed, if you know one of the governors, if you know any of these people, would you please call them? This is what I'm going to say is extremely important here. I've co-written or ghostwritten 2 books on real estate over the last 10 years. I've had many clients in the real estate business. I know real estate backwards, forwards, and inside out. Please listen to this. Home builders' confidence edged up as expected, but they did not open permits and they didn't start new building projects. Why? Because interest rates are a drag. That's what they said. We have this overhang of interest rates. The housing sector is the only sector that the Fed is still worried about with prices going up. Why are prices going up? Because there is no supply. You can't get supply. You can't get these guys to go out and build if they have these huge interest rates hanging over them. The only way housing is going to get back in line in terms of cost is if the supply goes up, and it can't go up until the interest rates go down. This is economics 101. I took it in school. Econ 101, supply demand. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know what to say. We need to have the Fed start reducing the interest rates so the mortgage rates can go down and so that the builders can borrow their money at lower rates so they can begin to build again. We also need your local city, your local county, your local state. We need them to back off on all the permitting and all the costs of getting started, because that is what is destroying the ability of these builders to do economical housing. All the permitting and all that stuff costs the same, whether it's a $400,000 house or whether it's a $2 million house. So they build the $1 million, the $1.5 million, the $2 million homes. That's all they're building. They're not building affordable housing because it makes no economic sense. Cities, counties, states, you need to figure this out. Median home prices jumped 1.9% in June. What have I been saying? If you listen to the channel, you know I've been saying housing prices are going up no matter what anybody else says, hitting 426,000 average for the country. That's from Redfin. Home prices are now down just 0.6% from where they were a year ago and 1.5% down from the record high in May 2022. And they will continue to go up this summer. Yeah, they might flatten out or go down a little in the winter as usually in the off season, but wait. Since there's no building permits and no housing starts, guess what's going to happen next spring? Oh boy, yeah. So according to Redfin chief economist Daryl Fairweather, he said, today's housing market is extraordinary. It feels hot, even though there are very few homes changing hands. Duh, that's because there's nothing to change. So if the Fed could get it, nobody's selling their houses because they've got a 3% interest rate. Why do you sell? You're not going to sell your house at a 3% interest rate and go buy a different house at a 7% interest rate. Duh. Okay. I did a bunch of digging into the NASDAQ reset thing. Apparently it happens all the time. This is something I really was not aware of, but I don't think it happens on the massive size that it's happening this time. The Magnificent Seven got out ahead of the NASDAQ. They didn't see, I think they waited too long on this. And so now it's a big deal that these seven are controlling over 50% of the NASDAQ. And so the rebalance seems bigger as a comparison. And the S&P also might have to rebalance. They're not quite to the number yet where they need to rebalance, but it could easily happen in the second leg of this run-up. So I think this is all over by Monday. It will not affect Tesla today and tomorrow because of the earnings, and just like you saw with Microsoft, but it is an effect, and it could affect Tesla on Friday and on Monday as the actual reset takes place. All right. Gene Munster says if Tesla is 10%, if they only get 10% of the business a decade from now, it will still make Tesla a $1.1 trillion business. And that's just on the cars. Let that sink in. If they're only at 10%, it's a $1.1 trillion business. Are you long Tesla? I'm not an investment advisor. This is not investment advice. Wards is reporting that Tesla is runaway at the top on brand loyalty, a huge migration from mainstream brands to Tesla across the board. People are leaving their traditional, their long-term. I'm a Plymouth guy, a Dodge guy all my life. Oh yeah, sure, I like Jaguars too. But I'm a Tesla man now. This is happening, and this is Wards now saying and making it clear. Huge orders in South Korea and Malaysia as they bring new models. Well, Malaysia, they're just opening the market there. South Korea, I think they brought the long-range Model Y. 14,000 in South Korea, 10,000 in Malaysia. I mean, really big numbers as they open these new markets. Yeah, really, really, really good. Okay, bonds are down big this morning. The bond market has totally blown off the inflation thing. Let me go ahead and check these last minute numbers here. So Tesla is now up 390 for the day at 297.24 for the high for the day. We are going to get there. We're only $2.75 away from 300. It is going to happen, and it might go through 300. I think it will go through 300. Let me look at where the markets are still up strongly this morning. The crypto is up strongly. The dollar is still weak. The gold is weak. Oil is up a tad, still in the middle of its range. And bonds are still down at 3.776, but again, right in the middle of its range. We'll see what happens next week when one and done happens on Wednesday. So be sure and check out my conversation with Jeff Lutz yesterday. It was a hugely important conversation. You really want to listen to that whole conversation. There's a card above. You can check that out. Larry Goldberg, hit like, hit subscribe, hit notify, because you want to hear Larry and I, what Larry has to say this afternoon after the call. And then buy the book. Jeff Lutz yesterday said he's going to buy himself a copy of Making Money Out of Thin Air. That is a book about how to read your balance sheet and how to read your income statement. It's also about how to use what you learn about that in order to run your business better. I'm pretty sure Jeff Lutz isn't going to learn anything from that book, but he's going to read it. I'm going to be looking forward to his report, whether he thinks I got it right or got it wrong. And by the way, I had a CPA, CMA, MBA helping me with that. Shayla Chamberlain, my CPA, she's my CPA for a couple, 3 years now, doing my taxes and actually saved me money. So if you need a new CPA, I highly recommend you buy the book, read the book, and then decide. Maybe you want to use Shayla Chamberlain also. She is a client. She's not paying for this other than the fact that she pays me monthly. All right. This is Randy Kirk. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. If you did, hit the like, and it has been great. And are you ready to open the presents? Are you ready to open it's like Christmas. It's like birthday. Can't wait until this afternoon. It has been great talking to you.